Whatever Nogai's formal status was, in fact it became more powerful than official Khan of the Kipchaks, although this was not enough to completely eliminate the latter. The result was a double rule, and although from time to time two Khans cooperated with each other, in some cases they gave contradictory orders, which created an extreme confusion. Tudor Mengu was not strong enough to openly oppose Nogai. Tudor Mengu adopted Islam as a spiritual revelation and became a Sufi. Sufism ideas had great influence in Asia Minor, Iran, and later in the Ottoman Empire. The supreme in the teaching of Sufism was the renunciation of joys and beauties of this world. The true Sufi must live in poverty, purify his soul through love to all mankind, and have a pantheistic consciousness that was considered the essence of all religions through which the peoples should hope for salvation. Under the influence of Sufism, Tudor Mengu lost interest in power and neglected state affairs to the horror of his subjects. Soon rumors spread that the Khan was mentally ill. Eventually, Tudor Mengu had to abdicate, and Tula Buka 1287-1290, the nephew of the two former Khans, was enthroned. However, Nogai was the actual master of the Khanate. Whatever Nogai's formal status was, in fact it became more powerful than official Khan of the Kipchaks, although this was not enough to completely eliminate the latter. The result was a double rule, and although from time to time two Khans cooperated with each other, in some cases they gave contradictory orders, which created an extreme confusion. Tudor Mengu was not strong enough to openly oppose Nogai.
Основная версия, да, о его происхождении, что все-таки он был джучит. Он принадлежал к одной из ветвей, значит, джучидов.
According to the main version of his origin, he was a Juchid. He belonged to Genghizid sept, but it was the so-called non-prestigious branch. That is, he could hold and had the title of Il Khan. He could be given the rank of Beklar Bek, military minister, Bek of other Beks in the Golden Horde. But there were no representatives of the highest category of Juchids who could ascend to the throne of the Golden Horde in his family. So Nogai addressed the situation effectively and ruled the Golden Horde, but behind the backs of his brothers, Mengu Timur's nephews. And beyond, when Tula Buga decided to make away with Nogai, because it's not worth to present Nogai as an ominous figure always and everywhere. Representatives of the main line of Juchids also tried to get rid of him. They also fought against him. But apparently, talent and fortune were on Nogai's side.
Действительно, талант или как бы фортуна или еще какие-то факторы были на стороне Ногая.
During the campaign against Europe in 1240, he, at the age of 20, commanded 1,000, then a 10,000-strong two-men of violent, consisting only of Turks, Kipchaks. Even during his lifetime, Batu Khan, who died in 1255, appointed Nogai the commander-in-chief of the entire Horde army, and in this post he was until 1301, until he was killed at the age of 80. From the book Icon Turkic, Obvious History. Nogai was strong enough to establish himself as the real co-ruler of the new Khan. Nogai, like Tudor Mengu, began to be called a Khan. In some Western sources, Nogai was called the Emperor. and in the Egyptian annals, Mali. Most likely, during the election of Tuda Mengu, Nogai personally declared himself Khan of the Mangit horde. Perhaps in order to avoid a clash between the followers of Nogai and Tuda Mengu, the Kurultai, which elected the last Khan of the Kipchaks, considered it best to recognize Nogai as a Khan of the Mangits. Nogai was a fairly reliable ally of the Byzantines. It should be noted here that in the last year of Mengu Timur's rule, relations between Nogai and Byzantium intensified both because of the Bulgarian problems and because of Mengu Timur's decision to enter into direct relations with Emperor Michael VIII. The first Nogai step after the death of Mengu Timur was restoration of friendly relations with Byzantine Emperor. Apparently, by agreement with Nogai, Emperor Michael VIII concluded an agreement with Egyptian Sultan Kulavun, which ensured to merchants and ambassadors going from the Golden Horde or to the Horde unstopped passage along the sea route through the Bosphorus. In the reign of Terter, 1280-1292, Bulgaria was a real Turkic-Mongol protectorate, closely associated with Nogai. Terter's son Svetoslav was held hostage at Nogai's court, and his sister Merecheka, a son of the formidable Mongol ruler. By the way, Nogai's daughter was the wife of the Russian prince Fyodor of Ryazan. In short, Nogai decided to expand the sphere of domination of the Turk-Mongols to the west. According to Byzantine historian George Pahimaris, all peoples subdued to Nogai gradually passed under the Turkic-Mongol influence, wearing Turkic clothes and studying the Turkic-Mongolian language. Sociologically, Nogai's empire resembled the Western Scythian and Samad states, as well as the Gothic kingdom of the 4th century. Extending from the Dnieper to the west to the lower Danube, it occupied roughly the same territory as the Gothic kingdom. The state was rich with agricultural products and fish and was conveniently located for conducting extensive trade with Hungary, Lithuania and Rus in the north, with Byzantium in the south and with Crimea in the east.
Можно говорить о том, что правят не представители ханской вот этой вот династии, да, а именно в лице Ногая правит...
It can be said that during Nogai's power period, representatives of Khan dynasty didn't rule, and in the name of Nogai, the high elite ruled. Being a Nile Khan, he seized all the power. He also tried to seize South Caucasus, Transcaucasia, but this project failed. However, his great strong influence on foreign policy, on Golden Horde's diplomacy, played a certain role. For example, the Bulgarian kings, who at that time were under the influence of the Golden Horde, Serbian kings, they were also suzerains of the Golden Horde. They didn't recognize brothers, Mengu Timur's nephews, who came to power. All of them recognized Nogai's authority, sent envoys, messages and gifts only to Nogai. It's interesting to know that the Bulgarian ruler Georgi Terter was the Golden Horde's appointee. Once Mengu Timur brought him into power, the ruler of Kipchak origin gave one of his daughters in marriage to Nogai's son. This fact proves that they wanted to establish dynastic relations with that ruler.
Династийные связи, династийные браки именно с этим правителем.
The whole policy and wars of the Golden Horde in the period from 1255 to 1309 in Rus, Eastern Europe, Transcaucasia, the matter of appointing new rulers in them, resolving problems with their own strife or choosing the Khan in the Golden Horde and other matters, all this was associated only with the name of this person. Mahambet Hakimov. Relations between Nogai and Tula Buka intensified during their joint campaign against Hungary and Poland, when Tula Buka complained that Nogai didn't provide him with sufficient support. Now, as a fully accomplished Khan, Tula Buka thought that he could afford more independence, and his relationship with Nogai became worse and worse. In the spring of 1288, Tula Buka launched a campaign against the Ilkhan state, resuming the feud between the two branches of Jengizids, which was started by Khan Berke. The Golden Horde Khan's goal was, as before, seizure of Azerbaijan. Neither this campaign nor the second one, which followed in the spring of 1290, brought any lasting results. If Tula Buka hoped, thanks to the war with the Ilkhans, to raise his prestige, which was somehow shaken by his previous unsuccessful campaign against Hungary and Poland, he miscalculated. Opposition leaders apparently were ready to support the claims of Tokhta, Menga Timur's son, to the throne. In any case, Tula Buka decided to seize Tokhta. Warned of the danger, Tokhta fled to Nogai and asked him, as the oldest of Juchids, for protection. Nogai was only too happy to use this occasion to undermine Tula Buka's authority. Therefore, he gave Tokhta shelter in his horde and guaranteed the refugee security. Nogai didn't realize that he was making a fatal mistake supporting Tokhta. The power and influence of Nogai finally angered young Khan Tula Buka, who gathered an army to deal with him, but the old experienced warrior managed to lull suspicions of Tula Buka and invited him to a friendly meeting, which was a trap. The young man was surrounded by Nogai, thrown off the horse and seized. Nogai handed him to Tokhta, who, hating the young Khan, killed him. After that, Nogai put Tokhta on the throne, confident that the new Khan, obliged to him, would become an obedient tool in his hands in 1290. However, Tokhta soon began to be burdened by Nogai's patronage.
К власти уже приходит Тохта, еще один, значит, представитель вот этой основной линии джучидов. И в приход к власти Тохты в 1291 году
Tokhta, one more representative of the main line of Juchids, comes to power. Tokhta's coming to power in 1291 exacerbates the situation. Being afraid for his influence, for his real power, Nogai appoints Tokhta's co-rulers, other brothers. They were Burluk, Sarai-Bugu and Tuda. That is, he makes all four brothers the rulers of the Golden Horde, so that they, keeping a watchful eye on each other, not allowing each of them to come forward, retain his, Nogai's, power. Now he, the Golden Horde's real ruler, aims his foreign policy ambitions at Rus, because the unrest began in Rus at that time. Something strange is happening at the headquarters of the Golden Horde. So Nogai headed military campaigns to Vladimir, to northeastern territories of Rus. Then he goes to Bulgaria, Serbia, and reaches the borders of the Byzantine Empire. It can be said that by the middle of 1290, Nogai's power reached its climax.
И даже, значит, достигает границ Византийской империи. То есть можно говорить, что к 1290 году, к середине 1290 года, власть Ногая достигла наивысшей точки.
worshipping Allah and His Messenger, just Nogai Khan. Inscription on the coin. Although Tokhtar received from Nogai assistance in the conquest of the throne, he didn't intend to remain his debtor for life. Tokhtar proved to be a very capable ruler and a man of a completely different kind than Tuda Mengu and Tula Buka. A devout devotee of the cult of heaven, he was imbued with severe Mongol traditions and believed in all Mongol unity. Careful enough to avoid initially open confrontation with Nogai, Tokhtar from the very beginning of his reign was engaged in the organization of a strong army and administration. But he had to make a few more concessions to Nogai before feeling ready to openly oppose him.
Хотя на этот раз Ногай решил не вмешиваться в русские дела, решительные действия...
Although Khan Nogai decided this time not to interfere in Russian affairs, he was probably troubled by Tokhtar's resolute actions. He considered it necessary to remind Tokhtar that the supreme authority in the Golden Horde's affairs still belongs to Nogai. In this connection, in 1293, Nogai's main wife, Baylak Hatun, visited Tokhtar's court and was received with respectable honor. After several days of festivities, she told Tokhtar that his father, that is, the overlord, Nogai, wanted to warn him against a number of military leaders who had previously supported Tula Buka and whom Nogai considered dangerous. She named 23 of them. Tokhtar summoned everyone in turn to his tent and executed one by one. This testimony of Tokhtar's devotion suited Nogai, and he decided to expand his influence in Serbia by sending an army there. The king had no choice but to recognize himself as a vassal of Nogai.
Но это был лишь отвлекающий шаг Тохты.
In the end, Tokhtar's army attacked Nogai, but in the first battle on the bank of the Don in 1297, he suffered a crushing defeat. Aged Nogai made a fatal mistake. He didn't immediately move to Sarai, where his opponent disappeared. In 1299-1300, Tokhtar again led the troops to the west. In the second battle of the Dnieper, Tokhtar defeated Nogai, who was betrayed by all former supporters. Rashid ad-Din wrote about this. His sons and his troops on the slope of the day fled away. He was seized by a Russian soldier from Tokhtar's army who wanted to kill him. Nogai named himself and said that he wanted to be taken to Tokhtar, but the soldier cut off his head and carried it to Khan. Tokhtar was saddened by the death of the old man and ordered to execute the murderer. Rashid ad-Din.
Тохта раз и навсегда решил усилить свое единовластие. Он изгоняет всех своих братьев, вот этих трех братьев-соправителей.
Tokhtar decided to strengthen his autocracy once and for all. He kicked out his three brothers, co-rulers. All masks are removed, and he begins active military operations against Nogai himself. It is clearly recorded in Russian chronicles that Nogai accidentally took part in a battle, and this fact is emphasized. The great Nogai was accidentally killed by a Russian knight, one of Russian soldiers who participated in the battle on Tokhtar's side. Nogai died. So, approximately in 1299, 1300 years, his epoch ends. Almost a quarter of a century, Nogai, a man who had never been predetermined to officially rule this great state, ruled it with an iron hand for almost a quarter of a century.
Которому никогда не было предопределено править, этим великим государством, европейским средневековым государством, правил ей, можно сказать, железной рукой почти четверть века.
His sons and troops hurriedly retreated at the end of the day. The ruler was already old enough. His thick eyebrows curved his eyes. Rashid ad-Din. For 4 decades, Nogai played such a major role in the political life of the Golden Horde that foreign princes recognized him as a Khan, sent embassies and imperial gifts to him, met his ambassadors as Tsar ambassadors, etc. Officially, Nogai was only a Temnik and ruler of the western regions of Dashti Kipchak from the Don and the Dnieper, to which, under Tokhta, he received another power over the Crimea with its rich trading cities. Under Mengu Timur, and especially under Tudor Mengu, and at the beginning of Tokhta's reign, he played the role of almighty transcendent, which in the full sense of the word replaced one of the Khans. One may wonder why Nogai, such an omnipotent ruler, didn't take power openly into his own hands and didn't declare himself a Khan. It is not difficult to understand this in terms of Turk-Mongol political views. In those days, the authority of the name of Genghis Khan and his family was so great that there was no person who decided to go against the entrenched notion that only a person from Genghis Khan's clan could be a Khan. How much this idea was firmly held in the political consciousness of the 13th, 14th century, one can see at least from the fact that Timur didn't take the title Khan, but called himself an emir.
Никогда не называл себя ханом, а лишь только эмиром.
During the first time of Tokhta's reign, Nogai was indeed a sovereign master, and Tokhta fully and unquestioningly carried out his instructions. But soon Tokhta found in himself enough strength and courage to rise against the temporary ruler. The reason for this was easy. Nogai hosted the rebel emirs who fled from Tokhta and refused to extradite them. Hostilities began between Nogai and Tokhta that ended after a stubborn and long struggle by defeat of the Nogai army and killing Nogai himself in 1300. For almost 40 years, the latter held in his hands all the threads of the political life of the Golden Horde.
Я думаю, это своего рода, опять же, традиция, которая начиналась еще во времена Чингисхана, это большое влияние, которое талантливые полководцы имели на государственную власть. То есть, если во времена Чингисхана это был Субэдэй, Субэдэй в нашем регионе...
It's a kind of tradition that began already in Genghis Khan's times. Talented military leaders had a great influence on state power. In the times of Genghis Khan, it was Subedey in our region. In the east, there was Muhalli, and in the Golden Horde, even under Batu's Berkia's rule, Commander Temnik Nogai managed to reach this position. It's difficult to overestimate his role by such simple fact that his name became an ethnonym. Ethnonym for a huge group of Western Kipchak tribes, which also became part of the Kazakh people and exist separately, like the Nogais. This man managed to unite the entire western part of Juchi Ulus under his political influence. In this capacity, he can be called a temporary ruler, anyone, but nevertheless, as a military and political leader of Western Ulus, He actively pursued foreign policy. It shows his independence across the entire country. He interfered in the feuds of the princes in Rus. He interfered in the affairs of Bulgaria, Byzantium, Serbia, Hungary. Thus, we see his role partly reminding that of Jibek, which he later tried to play. Jibek was one of co-founders of the future Nogai people. What is this role? It's the role of a leader not consecrated by the tradition of Jengizism, a talented, charismatic man who understood that he would never be an independent head of the state, who acted within the accepted system. On the example of Nogai, we see the strength of stability and traditions of the Golden Horde's and Jengizids' time. No matter how powerful the local leader is, he will never try to take the place of a central power. He could only interfere in the succession to the throne, promote his candidates, but he never considered the possibility to ascend to the throne himself. And this is very significant. New dynasties in the Arab Middle East easily emerged on this background. I'm not talking about Europe, where almost any person could declare himself a nobleman and seized power very easily. In the context of Eurasian state, of the Golden Horde, no matter how genius, strong and influential the politician was, he didn't claim the supreme power.
Любой человек мог объявить себя дворянином и так далее, и очень легко захватывал власть. В условиях, так сказать, евразийского государства Золотая Орда, сколь бы ни был гениален, силен и влиятелен политик, один политик, он, тем не менее, на верховную власть все равно не претендовал.
For half a century, the glory of Nogai, after Batu Khan, he outlasted 7 Jengizid Khans in the Golden Horde, in fact, influencing the entire administration by this state. As a warlike military leader who didn't know defeats, and a cruel political figure, and it had no equal. From the book Icon Tariq, Obvious History. After Toktai's decisive victory over Nogai, the period of dual power in the Golden Horde ceased. Khan Tokta, after physical destruction of Nogai, could consider himself the absolute sovereign of the Golden Horde. Nogai's sons tried to inherit their father's possessions, but their feud only promoted Tokta's victory. One of them, Chak, persecuted by Tokta, first found shelter at the Bashkirs, then at the Alans and eventually in Bulgaria, where his brother-in-law Sviatoslav reigned. After the death of Chak, Nogai's horde disintegrated. Part of it migrated to Russian Podolia. Another part recognized Tokta's suzerainty, and it was allowed to stay in the Black Sea steppes. Over time, they began to be called Small Nogais. The rest of the Nogai clans preferred to return to their former habitats in the Yaik River basin to the north of the Caspian Sea in order to reunite with their relatives who remained there throughout Nogai's reign. They began to be called Great Nogais.